Okay, we'll just look at the points. 1 point I have, 5 points I have, 5 points Taurus, 3 points I think, 1 I will, 1 I balance, 1 I desire, 2 I believe. So there's not the having and the thinking, very independent. I think I have, I think. These are his strong qualities. Okay. When we look at the daylight increasing, 11 points, and the daylight is greater, 10 points. It parallels when we saw the sun and moon. Again, remember the sun, moon, and ascendant sign is wrong on this chart, on this form. But 11 points daylight increasing to 3 points darkness increase. The ability to do his thing, to be more independent, to be more free, to follow his thing is strong. It's getting strong, and the need to do more is his thing, to express himself, to reach out, to do his thing. And the 10-point daylight is greater and 4-point darkness greater. It's a here's me and here's what I'm doing. Here's me and here's where I'm going. This is it. And here's what I see and here's what I'm doing. It's very self-centered, very independent. I mean, this is a very powerful, individually driven person going for freedom and independence. Like, this is the Taurus and the Gemini, but my way. It's interesting that he would have the Scorpio rising and the Mars handle, so he would start to see what would assert or what would interfere with my way. But relationships to him would be on his terms, my way or the highway. It's got to be added, something's got to be added or given to him. He would not be so much the follower. He has his style of how things have to go. You wouldn't necessarily want to argue with him. Okay. Then you have the, okay, if we look at the winter, spring, summer, fall, 9 points in spring. 2 winter, 2, 1 summer, 2 fall. So springtime is the most powerful. That's the daylight increasing, daylight is greater. So we're seeing this archetypally strong, like significantly strong. Then we have the cardinal fixed mutable, 7 fixed, 3 mutable. This is reinforcing the sun moon ascendant pattern, the Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini. 7 fixed, 5 mutable, 2 cardinal, not the most driving. Not the most driving, but very independent in his own ways and trying to be more free and more independent. Okay. This outstanding quality of him, a predominant factor. Then you see the elements, 2 fire, 4 air, 5 earth, 3 water. That's a fairly even balance. The fire is the weak point, which is, of course, is not the most inspirational character, but knowledgeable, down to earth, perceptive. And the masculine, feminine, 8 feminine, 6 masculine, so a little bit more reflective than projective. So very independent, but a little more reflective than projective. It's interesting. Reflecting on what? What I'm doing. What's happening to me? When we look at the planets, the rulerships, one planet's ruled by the sun. That's the midheaven, that planet. Nothing ruled by the moon. 3 points ruled by Mercury. That's the moon in Gemini and the Saturn in Gemini. 6 points ruled by Venus. That's the Taurus and the Mars and the Mars in Libra. The Taurus things and the Mars in Libra. 2 points ruled by Mars. 2 points ruled by Jupiter. So Venus is his strongest rulership. Now, this is really interesting. He's known for his Martian complexes and understanding the Freudian slip and the sexuality, how sexuality is the cause of everything. But really, in his nature, his sense of satisfaction, of being appreciated, of being liked, is the strongest thing. As long as he was feeling good and feeling appreciated or liked or being rewarded, it would affect 6 planets and 6 points in his chart. It would really center his chart. As soon as he wouldn't be getting things he wanted, it would draw his attention and different functions would come up. Even as Mars in Libra would be affected, he wouldn't do things as well if he was not being liked. So this is, if you imagine a kid, this is a student, as long as the teacher loves him, he'd be the best marks. As soon as he's not liked or something unfair happens, he would be having the temper tantrum. So, or like, so the point here is in his sense of being appreciated, being paid, being liked, being worthy, Venus. It's a very strong factor in his makeup and in how he was able to interpret the repercussions of sexuality and of actions. Okay. Now, okay, that's good. We're just touching it. We're going to look at the. I'm just going to move this down a little bit so I can see it better. Okay, we're going to look at the houses, the house points. So we look at the houses. 1 point security, 1 point performance, 2 points duty, 4 points partnership, 3 points trust, 1 point friendship. So it's the 7th and 8th houses that are the strongest. Sharing relationships, that's the counselor, and trust, the psychological depth of the 8th house. So the trust in partnerships and who does things to reinforce it or to go against it, that's his strongest issue. We're aligning, we're trusting. Do I screw it up? Do you screw it up? Or why would you do that? Why didn't you do this? And he'd be instantly alert to anything that would diminish the quality of his life, diminish the appreciation or the value of his life. But if he had someone who liked him, he would be going out of his way to do everything for that person. So this is, here's the guy that would have had to have teachers he loved to be able to, if he had teachers who liked him, he would do great. If he had teachers that didn't, he wouldn't stay well. It would become, as soon as he's hurt or not liked or rejected, it really goes in deeply and would cause a dissociation and anger and, I guess you call it, expressions of Freudian slips would come out. The anger, the frustration, the judgment would come out. He would be very judgmental about it. Okay, rising 1 above the horizon, rising 1 setting 11, so 11 points reacting. So even though he's the I, me person, this is really different from from the signs, which had the 11 points daily increasing, 10 points daily greater. We have 11 points setting. So in all that independence, he's really dependent on, he's really a reactor, not an instigator. He responds to other people. As long as people are responding to him, he knows what to do and what he wants. He knows how to react to other people. So he knows how to mirror other people to get what he wants. So this independence of doing his thing, he's going to do things that allow him to get attention, allow him to be listened to, allow him to be appreciated, to be wanted to relate to. Both the Sun and Taurus wants the appreciation, the Moon and Gemini wants to be explaining things, talking about things, and wanting to be listened to. So he'd listen, then aha, there it is, the Freudian slip, and then he'd go and once he got the angle, the focus on the action, on the aggression, on what one did to get in the situation one would be in, what one wanted to talk about, he could see why people did what they did and then start to see how it was interfering with their sense of self-worth. Why? That's psychotherapy, right? But he naturally did that. So the setting is responding to others. It's important that I'm responding to others. It's important I'm doing things for others. It's important I'm doing something that's relevant and relative to others that other people can relate to. That's the Sun and Taurus, Moon and Gemini. And it needs to be practical Taurus and intelligent Moon and Gemini. And I need to express it. So then he has 8 points above the horizon and 4 below. So again, this motivates a bit more towards career and towards out in the world than at home. Okay, but he did get married. He had 6 kids. So he was 7th house. He did have a strong, steady, determined marriage as a big part of his life. And once that was secured and in place, he still had room to do his thing and make his career above it. So there still was twice as much energy going out to career than just being at home. So he get married, but he wouldn't just he'd still have to get out and do something, be noticed. So, but he did. I mean, he lived the same place for most of his life, the same building, the same place, most of his life until just before the Second World War, and the Nazis came in, and he had to, when the Nazis took over Austria, he had to leave and go to England, and he lived another year. But he was fixed in his marriage, in his place, in his place. So that's the Taurus. But this daylight is greater. That's the need for the career and being out and being known. Being known, independently known by others who like what he's saying. Here's what he's saying. You can see how this works. The daylight increasing, the daylight is greater, and the setting chart having to be meaningful to others. So being the psychologist, meaningful for others, helping other people to improve their functionality and see how what they're doing and how to fix their things. Wow, he just had that. He was it. I mean, it's an exercise. You go through this exercise in relativity if you were trying to compare this to Freud chart and see how they had so much the same sun in the seventh house, but then the differences start happening. You see different personalities, different styles, different needs. Okay. Okay, 5 angular, 5 seeking 2 cadence. So in the houses, he was driving and determined, not that adaptable. So when it came to circumstances and the things he was doing, he wasn't that adaptable. He was determined and instigated. He would go for it. That would feed into the Mars side of things. Now, intuition, thinking, sensation, feeling. 7 sensation quadrant, 4 feeling quadrant. So his ability to sensation is sensibility, the ability to respond to other people practically and see how people interact with each other. Matter of fact, without taking it personally, he could see that. That's that 9th, 8th, 7th house quadrant. Ability to respond and react to other setting in an objective way above the horizon, without taking it personally down in the below the horizon. So he had that quality. The next one was 4 points feeling. So then still the next thing was being able to take see personally. But it wasn't the intuition was not much. It was not an intuitive person. He was practical, sensual into reacting. This is good, this is bad, someone's responding. Very matter of fact in his responses to and from people. Not intuitive. Almost averse to that. In fact, he was averse to that. 7 point sensation, that's his practical interaction. There's enough to see how people, as a matter of fact, it's simple. You can see how people who did what's happening, how it affected somebody, and how it spins off, and what you have to do, what needs to be changed, or what needs to be worked on. Just clear. He wouldn't have to work hard to see that, to express it, or to put it down so people could hear him. Yeah, he would work hard to do that. In the fire house is 1, so again, fire is not, inspiration is not his forte. Relationships, air, 5. Concerns, 2, not too practical. 4, rewards, emotional, judgmental. So his need to communicate, you see, in the relationship houses. But he had 4 air in the signs, and 5 earth, 3 waters. Fire, his writing, his nature is not, it's his practical comments on why you would have a dream, why you would react like this. It's because you did something or something happened and then it triggered off. And when he was able to practically see it in a matter-of-fact way.